we go. Okay, Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Okay, so inshallah, we only have, alhamdulillah, 4 days to go, inshallah. So the end is near now. So for those of you that are probably starting to feel the tiredness, especially with, with the last 10 nights, inshallah, hang in there. There's not long to go now, and it's nice to finish strong, and it's nice to complete something. So inshallah, let's see this to the end, inshallah. We have actually, in terms of class, we've got the 4 days, and then there will be one extra day, inshallah, where we just do parting advice, inshallah. So we hope that you can all make it for that as well, that session. It won't be, inshallah, it won't be longer than the session that we have already. So alhamdulillah, that's something we can, we look forward to seeing you for. Okay, so let's bring up ayah number 27. Okay, so for the sake of practice, because we are reciting more slowly, I will be reciting first the top line and then inshallah the bottom. It is one full ayah. It's better if you can to carry on reading the whole ayah. But yeah, inshallah, for practice, I will be stopping, and it does actually complete the meaning, so it's not a bad stop, inshallah. Okay, so Puppetry Ruksana, let's do the isti'adha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
I like that, mashallah, you kept it very steady and slow, alhamdulillah. And I could tell that you were focusing on everything, alhamdulillah. We will say it one more time. You even got the mina, which was good. The only thing now for the noon is that you want to make it light. So not mina, okay. It was a little bit heavy. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Oh, let's try, sorry. Okay, so Sister Radia, if you can do the Basmala with me, please. Jazakallah khairan, Papaji. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Just to join you when you say Ar-Rahman, Nir Rahim, Nir Rahim, just to make it clear that you are joining those two because they sound a little bit separate. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
It's better. I'm just hearing the joining now between the Rahim. Remember how we had before? The joining of the Ra with the previous letter was good. Just be careful at the end. Ar-Ra, finish the Ra, don't join it with the Ha. Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Ra, finish it, complete it, then think about the Ha. Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim.
I'm still hearing Ar-Rah.
Yes.
I'm still hearing that joining me. So
I'm trying to concentrate on that.
Maybe what you can do for now, for the sake of practice, is after the Ra, just stop. Although ideally you do want to keep the flow going, but for the sake of practice, until you get used to it, later you can try to keep the flow going. But for the moment, just say Ar-Rahim, Ar-Rahim. Try to do a little break there.
Ar-Rahim.
It's better again.
Ar-Rahim.
It's a little bit better. I want you to try that, so that after the Ra, you keep a pause, then go for the Ha. It's not ideal. Remember, this is not the solution, but it is for the sake of practice until you get used to completing the Ra and then moving on to the Ha. And then you'd end up, finally, you will do it more smoothly. All right? Okay. Auntie Nasreen, if we do the top row, okay. Now we'll recite it first as usual. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ زُلْفَةً سِيئَتْ وُجُوهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So you got to remember next time, deeper breath. Alhamdulillah,
Yeah.
so that you can inshallah continue. Okay, so let's do the breakdown first and then we'll recite it again. So we have here falamma, we have a mim mushaddad here. So this is the longest gunna, akmal gunna. Some people say akmal ma takun. So we hold this falam, allow the sound to go through your nose, falamma, okay? And then you hold the gunna, so you hold the joining of the meme, falam, but then you also have this mad alif, which is your mad tabi'i, harakatain, so you then have to hold the ma, falamma, okay? So we hold the alif as well. Then we move on to the word ra'awhu. The ra here has a fatha, so it is heavy. When we are reciting the next word, this wow is called a wow layniya, okay, or it's a lean letter, okay. It's a lean letter because when you have a letter wow and the letter before it has a, sorry, do that again, not a cross, a fatha, or you have a letter ya with a fatha. It's only for these two letters, okay. For both of these, only these two letters, when they both have a sukoon and the letter before them, it could be any letter, has a fatha, then we call these letters lean, okay, lean letters. And they have a, in both cases, they are rakhawa letters, so you have to keep them running. The sound has to keep running. And also you have to pay attention because what you're doing here is you have to pronounce the fatha letter first. So the hamza needs to be read first, then you move on to the wow. Sometimes people end up almost like doing a blending or a merging of these, right? So they'll say rau, or they'll say rauhu. It's not clear that they're saying ahu, ra'au, au. So again, you have to make sure that you complete the fatha of the hamza first. Ra'a, ra'a, ra'au. Okay, you don't want to be saying ra'a, ra'a, making it heavy and saying ra'au. Okay, again, it's coming back to the same idea that when you're reciting Quran, your mouth is moving a lot more. You'll notice, for example, if I show you now, when I'm speaking in English, and this is the case for many languages, my mouth isn't, I mean, it moves, but it's not moving that much, right? It's just like, it's very small movements, and you don't really see my lips widening much or opening this way much. It's just very small movements. But when we are reciting Quran, like we are reciting فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ, I've tried to do it a little bit more. I'll do it again. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ. So we have we move our lips into the O or the U shape. We move it into a slightly, sometimes we have a slightly smile. Sometimes, I mean, what I just read now, we didn't have a particularly heavy letter. But if I was, for example, saying qa'ima, qa'ima, again, my jaw is going to move down. So there's there's more movement when you are reciting Quran. Sometimes out of habit, we try to still sort of recite Quran in a similar way that we recite our mother tongue or whichever language we are used to speaking at home. We tend to get a little bit lazy. So you have to make sure that you move properly. Say ra'a, ra'auhu. Okay, the wow, remember, is rahawa, so keep it running before you go into the hu. Ra'auhu, ra'auhu. And then if you notice, I don't say ra'auhu and then stop. Ra'auhu. You keep the wow running, then you go to the ha, and it's a smooth transition. Then we have the word zulfatan. We have to make sure we say the dhamma here of the za, so the lips are going to round. We join that with the letter lam. Lam is tawassut, and then we have the fa, which is light and airy. So how are we going to say this? We're going to say this as zu, zuel. Remember, you have to bring the lips to allow the inhiraf, allow the sound to come from the sides. On the word I'm saying, zulfatan, zulfatan, zulfatan. So nice and airy. So don't, when you get to the fa, don't press so hard and say zulf. Don't press hard. Zulf. Keep it airy. Okay. Let's bring it back up. Okay, so we have that bit, and then we're moving on to this part here where we have the tanween followed by the seen. This is, as we've seen many times now, your ikhfa haqiqi, and it has a light, a gunna, because the letter after it is light, is letter sin. So here we are saying zulfatan. I'm getting ready for the scene. The sound is still coming through my mouth and going through my nose. Okay, zulfatan si'at. Okay, so we hold this gunna. Let's see if we can recite it from the beginning until here. Auntie Nasreen.
Yeah.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت سيئت.
Just be careful. I mean, I stopped here. This is not the best place to stop. So we want to try to avoid stopping here. I just did it for the sake of practice, so we can at least just practice the words that we've said. But if you're reciting Quran yourself, you don't want to be stopping here because the meaning actually just continue, and the next part is connected to this word. So ideally, you don't want to stop there. Okay, bring that back. Okay, so we'll do that again, Auntie. I just for the ta, be careful not to bounce it. I don't want to hear see at, right? At. You just hear a little bit of air at the end. Okay, let's try that again. And just and also Auntie, try to make your ra a little bit heavier. So the ra and the ta for now. فلما رأوه زلفة. Auntie Nasreen, can you hear me right?
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's repeat that again. Alhamdulillah. Let's say the isti'adha again because there was a break. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت.
So the only other thing I would say here, Auntie, that was a better effort, mashallah, your ra was improved, is keeping the ta here light. So when you do your ikhfa, zulfata, right? Zulfatan si'at.
زلفة سيئت.
Alhamdulillah, jazakumullah khairan. Then we have the next part, wuju. Now here we have a dhamma followed by another dhamma. We have 3 dhamma, so the lips are going to be round right from the beginning. So don't get lazy with the first one. It's very easy to say wuju, woo. Okay, so we have to have the same wujuhu, wujuhu. So they all have that dhamma ending. The jim, of course, because of the mad waw after it will be stretched for 2 counts. This is your mad tabi'i again, harakatain in the case of wasl, if you are going to carry on reading. So for this we say وجوه الذين كفروا.
وجوه الذين كفروا.
Okay, so your fathas are changing, Auntie. They're not all consistent. So we've got the one in the lam when he said wujuhul, they sounded like a le, and then we had the one for the kaf which sounded like a ka, right? So let's try and keep all of them all level, so they're all a sound. Wujuhul ladhina kafaru.
وجوه الذين كفروا.
It's better. Alhamdulillah, it is better. The kaf can be made even better still if after you, when you say the kaf, push the sound forwards in your mouth so it's coming out of your lips. Kafaru.
كفروا.
That's better. Right, let's try the whole thing from the top now. Let me just get rid of, tidy it up a bit. Okay, so here we're saying, so everybody else, I hope you're having a go as well after me, inshallah. فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا. I'll say that again. فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا. Try that onto your screen.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا
كفروا.
كفروا.
That's much better. Yes, alhamdulillah. So again, careful of the ta. We don't want to bounce it. And don't forget the mud here, auntie. We want to also hold the ma at the end and make that 2 counts. Let's try this. And just one more thing, auntie, for the ta. Remember the ta here, it still can be lighter still. It sounds like when you're doing the ikhfa, come into it gently. Okay, I want you to go zulfatan si'at. At the moment, you're putting quite a bit of power into it. So you're saying zulfatan, right? So keep it gentle, keep it slow and steady. Okay, we'll try that again. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ زُلْفَةً سِيئَتْ وُجُوهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا
MashaAllah, the ra was much better. You managed to do the mad, alhamdulillah. The ta was also improved. So MashaAllah, well done, and Allah bless you. The ta, I think what's happening is when you're saying the ta, you're trying to smoothly go on to the next onto the next letter. But when you're doing that, when your tongue goes up to the top for the makhraj of ta, when you're going to move on to the waw, I'm hearing you let go with your tongue. I'm hearing si atawa. Si at I'm hearing like a bounce. So si at. Remember when you do the yes, you just want the air, the humps at the end, just the breath. Si at. That's just air. And so once you've done the air, then I shouldn't hear your sound of your voice bouncing off and saying si at. You see, si at wuju. And just so that everybody else knows also at home that if you are running out of breath, remember to stop at the end of a word. So one word is wujuh, so you could stop here. Okay, you don't want, if this word is being joined with the next word, you don't want to break the word, for example, here and say wujuhulla or wujuhul, because it's something that you wouldn't do in any language. You wouldn't sort of break up a word and stop in the middle of it. So if you do find yourself running out of breath, no problem, you can stop, but try to just be careful of stopping at the end of a word and not in the middle of a word. Okay, let's try that one more time. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ زُلْفَةً سِيئَتْ وُجُوهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وجوه الذين كفروا.
Not bad, mashallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. And we'll do the next part now. So if Sister Hamara, if you can do this one with me, please. وَقِيلَ هَذَا الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تَدَّعُونَ.
وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
Okay, alhamdulillah, jazakumullah khairan. So we have here waqila. The qaf here is a heavy letter, but a heavy letter, it's not the more heavier letters. It doesn't have itbaq, it has infitah. So it's not too heavy, but also the fact that it has a kasra means that it's also not a its level is not very heavy. Okay, so according to Imam Ibn al-Jazari, this would be a level 5, which is the lowest level of heaviness, and also for the opinion of Ibn Tahan, the level of heaviness for this qaf is level 3. Again, it's the lowest for him as well. So it doesn't matter which opinion it is that you're following, it's going to be the lowest for both. So here we don't want to say waqi, qi. You see, this is too much. This is exaggerated, right? Do it what comes naturally. Waqila, waqila. Okay, so you hit the makhraj, but you don't forcefully push off the makhraj. Okay, and we don't exaggerate. We don't even say, for example, waqi, qi, qi. If we say waqi, it's almost like you're trying to do an itbaq, and you don't want to do that. You want it to come out easy. Waqila. Okay, the qaf, there is a mad ya after it, which is stretched for 2 counts. We have then the word hadha alladhi. We've seen this before, so I'm not really going to go into it too much. We say the ha, we move from the dal to the lam because of the iltiqa as-sakinain, and then we have the 2 count mad at the end. The next part I do want to talk about, we've got the ikhfa haqiqi here. Okay, this again, because the next letter is a letter ta, it is with a light gunna. Okay, and then it's followed straight away by a meme sakin followed by a ba, which is another ikhfa, but it's not the same one. This one is ikhfa shafawi, because the first one is with a noon, and this one is an ikhfa of the meme. Okay, they should, the ikhfa should not sound the same, but they should last the same amount of time. They should be, they are both kamil gunna, so they are not the longest gunna, but they're the more they're a complete gunna nonetheless. Okay, so we hold them both the same, but there should be a difference, because for the first one, for the noon sakin one, we're getting ready for the ta. We say tu, right? Then we come to the meme sakin followed by the ba. Now, when you pronounce a meme sakin followed by the ba, you are, this is where your lips come together very gently, no pressure, no pressure, or no pressing of the lips. Okay, so how are we saying this? We're saying it like this. So for the first one, I'm ready for the ta. This time my lips are gently together. They're not going in. I'm not saying they're not going in, and I'm not pressing. I'm not saying no pressure. Bihi. Okay, so it's a very gentle coming together of the lips. Okay, so that's for the ikhfa shafawi. There is another opinion of having the furja, having the paper thin gap between the lips, but Dr. Raymond Swade does mention this in his book, and he says that that way is incorrect, and the more correct way is that you bring the lips and bring them together very, very gently. Okay. We then follow this with let's try practicing this. So Sister Hamara, if you can say after me, kuntum bihi.
كنتم به.
Remember, the tongue shouldn't be touching anything for the first one. Remember, for this one, the first one, the
Yeah.
tongue is not touching. It sounds like you are touching something. Kuntum bihi.
كنتم به.
Yeah, and also to make it more clear that you're moving from a dhamma letter to a meme. So your lips, how do they move? That way your ikhfa will sound, your ikhfa shafawi will sound light. So you don't want to say You see, notice for both ikhfas, once I've said the dhamma, my lips are coming a little bit out, and that's how you're going to make the sound of the gunna light. Okay. كنتم به. Try that again.
كنتم به.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Your first one can be lighter still, but alhamdulillah, it is better than it was. Alhamdulillah, jazakumullahu khairan. The ya here, sorry about that. The ya here that we have is this is mad sila sughra. Again, it's got a different name, but it's still a 2 count mad. Okay, we say bihi. In continuation, if I was going to say bihi tad'un, okay, then I would stretch it for 2 counts. If, however, I was going to stop on this word, if I was running out of breath, for example, then this madya is not read, and that's what makes it different to the mud that we saw here. Okay, the mud that we saw at the beginning. This alif mud at the end, we read it no matter what. If I carry on reading and say falamma ra'aw, If I carry on reading, I extend it for 2. But also if I stop on this word, I'll say falamma. I'll still read it. It's read either way. But here in the case of the mad sila sughra, if I continue reading, then I will read it for 2 counts. Bihi tad'un. But if I stopped here, I would just say bihi. I would put a sukoon on the ha, and the ya mad is not even read. I would say kuntum bihi. Okay. So that's the rule of the mad sila sughra. Let's try saying this again. Inshallah from the beginning. وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
Okay, so don't forget that for the ain, you can squeeze a little bit more. The ain should not be heavy here. So you don't want to be saying, if you squeeze too much, sometimes that can lead to a heavy ain. The ain is something which is just a very light squeeze. So you don't want to be saying tad'un, right? Too much. Tad'un, tad'un.
تدعون.
Much better, alhamdulillah. So the other thing that you probably need to take note of is that when you again, we've mentioned this before, when you are saying tad'un, you squeeze initially for the ain, and then by the time you get to the waw, you're not squeezing anymore. You're saying tad'u. You're not saying tad'u. You see, you don't carry on squeezing, you let go. Tad'un.
تدعون.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Let's try this again so everybody gets another opportunity, inshallah, to practice. وَقِيلَ هَذَا الَّذِي كُنْتُمْ بِهِ تَدَّعُونَ.
وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
Yes, so alhamdulillah, the ikhfa that you did this time was better, alhamdulillah. It's probably one of your better ones, the first one that you did. It was much lighter than before. Okay, alhamdulillah, let's get, before we finish, let's recite it from the beginning, and let's get some of the other sisters to recite this with us. So Sister Radhiya, if I can get you to recite the top line with me, please. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ زُلْفَةً سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا.
فلما رأوه فلما رأ فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا.
Okay, so we'll try that again. Don't forget the ra here is heavy. And don't forget to hold the ikhfa here. So you want to hold it a bit more, keeping it nice and light. There was one other thing, but I can't remember what it is. So inshallah, oh, it was when you're joining the ha to the lam. Remember, hold the joining first. Keep the sound. Wujuhulla, wujuhulladhina. There was kind of like a break when you read it. Let's try this again.
Yeah.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا.
فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا.
Okay, so let's recite the first 3 words, and let's see if we can get, because I think sometimes when you're trying to read too much, there's too much to focus on, especially when there's quite a few things that you need to work on. So in this case, what I want you to do now is we'll recite the first 3 words. Be careful of the who. You don't want to make it too long. Okay, so you want to keep that one count. After you finish, go straight to the zal, to the za. Alhamdulillah, you managed to fix the ra, so let's see if we can keep that in place. فَلَمَّا رَأَوْهُ زُلْفَةً.
فلما رأوه زلفة.
Okay, so if you're stopping, then this da changes to a ha. So we don't pronouncing a da at all. رأوه زلفة.
فلما رأوه زلفة.
Okay, so I'm hearing fatah, right? You're still reading this ta, and then you're adding a ha after this, right? So you're pronouncing it like this, fatah. But remember the ta gets replaced completely. The ta no longer is here. You're pronouncing it like this, zulfa, zulfa. Straight to from the fa to a ha, zulfa.
فلما رأوه زلفة.
That's better. This is only in the case of if you're stopping, right? So if you're going to carry on, then you do pronounce the ta. And then the other thing I want to just practice with you, Sister Radia, is this part here. وجوه الذين كفروا.
وجوه الذين كفروا.
Good. Alhamdulillah, it was better. Before the lam was a little bit heavy when you said wujuhul, right? wujuhul الذين كفروا.
وجوه الذين كفروا.
That's better. Jazakumullahu khairan. And Papa Ruxana, if you can please read the bottom line. وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون.
Better, Jazakumullah khair. You've got a little bit of ghunna in your madwaw. So remember, when you say u, keep a bigger gap between your lips so the sound can come out more easily. تدعون.
تدعون.
Don't forget the squeeze for the ain. تدعون. You still have it properly. Say oo for me. Ooh. So this, yes, get comfortable with it. Ooh.
تدعون.
So that you've got the mad wow now. Now I want you to say the same ooh, but add the squeeze at the beginning. Tada'u.
Okay. تدعون.
Much better. Jazakumullahu khairan. My sincere apologies. I have gone 5 minutes over today. We'll stop there, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام عليكم Sister Zuleika. She's here.